Hi, this is Jenny Oya with Nuggets and Things. Thank you so much for joining me today. We want to share a little bit today about grounding, the importance of grounding, why we ground, you know. And I want to look at this, honey. Look what your girl got, honey. My amethyst. This is mine now. This ain't the one that got us. So let me see. This is mine. Ain't she big and pretty? Look at that. I'm telling you, honey. The power in this amethyst, honey. Anyway, honey, your girl know things. Anyway, look, being able to ground, the importance of it. As a child, I don't know about you, but as a child, I love being barefooted, and I still do. But as a child, I love being barefooted, honey. Going through mud puddles, barefooted, honey, just splashing through the mud. Country, honey, I loved it, honey, but didn't realize it till until I came into myself, till I found me. I realized the importance of grounding, and all that time that I was slushing through the mud puddles and running through the fields barefooted and playing outside. But the only time I had to wear my shoes when the wintertime came, because right. But that I lived like that. I was always close to earth, so I was always earthing, grounding, you know, getting my connections, my connectors going, you know, feeling my soul and my spirit full of the electricity, the energy, right? The frequency, the vibrations, that's what you're doing as you're grounding. You're becoming, in touch. You're receiving the downloads, right? You're hearing the spiritual knowledge you need to hear, right? All of this information that's all around us comes to you the closer you are to the ground, right? So anyway, I loved it and didn't realize till about 13 years old. My mama told me. She said, Jenny, she said, you're just far above your age. She said, you're like a woman in this 13-year-old body, because I didn't think like others did, you know. She said I was, beyond my years, and I didn't know what she was saying then, until I got older. And she may not even know the fullness of what she was saying, but in essence, she was trying to, to pull me in to understand something about myself, right? In life, people will come into your life, to give you something that they would tap you to tell you something that you need to know this period of your life. Somebody else will come and tap you this period of your life. Someone else tap you at this period, and all they're doing is waking you up, to you, right? Because there's a part of you that you are looking for always anyway. You're always looking for you. And so somebody comes around to help you find you. Isn't it amazing? I love it. So they're trying to get you to know who you are. People they give you these quiz, these tests, leave you a little bit of nibbits and ticket nuggets, and showing you, a little bit about yourself. He said, what is that? I remember this guy told me probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, give or take. He says, Queen. He says, look up the word empath, EMPATH. I said, empathy? He said, no, don't use the Y, just empath. I said, okay. So I went to look up the word. And now know this now. Before he told me to look it up, we was in this heated discussion, you know. And I'm standing my ground, honey. And he said, I'm gonna get off this phone with you. But look up this word. I said, okay, I'll look it up. But I'm ready I'm ready to fight. And I talk about physically fight, right? I'm just ready to let him know how I felt about whatever the discussion was. Who knows what it was back then at that time. Anyway, it, I looked it up, and Honey found out he had tapped into me. And he had told me something about me that I didn't know. You hear me? So what I thought I knew, I didn't. And what he did was open me up to discover more about myself. You know, empath. You're an empath. Oh, where was that? So I did a research on it and found, I said, yeah, read all these things, and I said, wow, yeah. So in life, you will meet people, you'll be introduced to things that will bring you closer to you. Then you will find out exactly who you are and what you're meant to do, you know? Because in our world, you know, this particular planet here, which is very dense, it's dense, right? And it's so dense that it keeps you locked up, you know. And you work extra hard. You feel like you're always in overdrive. You're trying to get through. You're trying to get through because of the density, you know. And you watch a whole lot of things go on. You realize it's because the planet is dense, because that don't even make sense. How this is so foolish. Why so all that stuff, it's the density here on this planet. It's dense. You know what I mean? People will not people will not think because they're not required to. Density, you know. So it's important that you be grounded so you can hear your channels. You can stay tuned into, what you need to hear so you can move accordingly. You know, find the places you're supposed to be at the right time you're supposed to be in them. You know, and I was sharing about my son wanting to play basketball. You know, um, in order for him to play basketball, he had to have a certain name brand of sneakers, and so I'm a single mother, and I had to buy my son a pair of sneakers because he made the team. That's congratulations, right? You made the team. So all these kids tried out for basketball, and my son made it along with some others, of course. So, and when he made the team, he got the chance to be able to wear the uniform and them sneakers. So I go to a couple games to watch them sneakers that I had to pay for run the court. Mhm. Okay. I'm going to the game and I'm seeing those sneakers sitting on the bench. I asked my son, I said, baby, I've been to a couple of your games because I don't go to all of them now. You know, I didn't do that. I wasn't one of those mothers that go to every one of my children's games. I did not do it. You go out for a sport, I will support you by buying the stuff you need, make sure you're there. But honey, when I get off from work, I'm trying to cook dinner. I'm trying to do this. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm not gonna be going to these games. Now you're gonna have food, a home cooked meal, all this, and it's just me. So we had to understand it. But when I did go, he wasn't playing. I asked him, I said, baby, do you get a chance to play? He said, oh, I ain't got a chance to play yet, mama. The coach said such a thing. I said, let me talk to the coach then. So I goes and I talks to the coach. And I said, hey, I'm so and so's mama. He said, hi, how you doing? I said, I'm doing pretty good. I need to ask you a question. I said, I've been coming to the games. I said, and I ain't seen my son play yet. He said, yeah, what we trying to do, and he's trying to go long wind on me, right? I don't do long wind, honey. And I know what he was trying to say, but he was trying to say it in a way to try to make it seem like he was a whole lot smarter than me, which he wasn't. So I said, I understand. You are looking to have a win, so you can have a trophy, so it can make it look good for you that your team is winning. I understand what you're doing, but I also want you to understand this. I'm a mother. My son made your team because you chose him. And when you chose my son to play on that team, you, to me, when you told me I had to buy this stuff for him, was cost me money. It wasn't no $20 now I had to spend on them sneakers and stuff. I had to pay for this stuff for my son to be on this team and for them sneakers to be sitting on the bench every time I get here. I said, no, that's not gonna work for me. I said, I want to be able to clap and applaud my son, and I want him to have some running time like everybody else's child do. I said, I want them sneakers to get some miles on them. I need them sneakers to get some dirt on them. Or you can buy them back. But he will not be on the team and not get no play. That's as simple to me. See, that's when you connected, honey. That's when you connected. So anyway, he made sure. I said, look, he ain't got to be out there for no half an hour, no 15 minutes. If I don't care if you give him 2 minutes, 50 seconds. But I want my son playing. He needs some playtime. Every time you have a game, he needs to have some playtime. I said, I don't care. I want them sneakers on that daggone court. And I need my son playing so I can cheer for my son like they cheering for theirs. That child been playing the whole game. I need my son to play. I don't care how you do it. And look, I can't fight for everybody's child. I'm talking about mine. My son started playing. He wasn't long now. He didn't play long times, but he played. Because that was important to me. You know what I'm saying? When you see things differently, you move accordingly, right? So there's some things that you can see that nobody else sees. Or if they see it, they ain't do anything about it. But when you see something that you know that is wrong, or should be corrected, or should change, or should be elevated, or should be decreased, because you are knowledgeable of that thing, you should move accordingly on that. And you know how you become, intuitive, and you know how your intuition becomes strong. You know how it is you can tap into stuff and see things that somebody else did not see? It's because you're well grounded. You know what I mean? They used to tell me many times, I was full of electricity. I can walk by somebody and they say, you shocked me. You shocked me. And I'm not talking about, you rub them across the carpet. You just walking and all of a sudden, you just reach and touch somebody and you shocking them because, you have electricity in your body. Electricity that goes from your body, from your crown to your root, because you're a crystal, your crown. Okay. So all that electricity that's coming, from up above to below or to below to above, right? As it is above, it is below, vice versa. This is a channel all day long, up, down, right? What's going up is coming down, electricity, this vibration, the frequency, it's constantly moving, right? And when you're on the ground, right, it is going through you just like that. You're getting information, you're getting understanding. You can see past things other people can see. You're capable of doing things because, look, you move differently when you know who you are. See, I didn't understand it when I was younger. How come you're so full of electricity? But then I understand it now, full of electricity because I was constantly grounding. Electricity was all through me. Now, those sneakers that they were fighting me to buy for my son, I didn't know it then now. But sneakers, honey, all that rubber keeps you from being grounded. Yeah, it helps you absorb, the shock. The shock, honey, is electricity you need to have. But anyway, you're fighting over a pair of sneakers, right? That really is not even meant for your feet. You can't play basketball barefooted. Yes, you can. I've seen them do it, honey. Oh, honey. I used to watch my brothers, honey, play basketball, running up and down, playing basketball outside. Football, honey, barefooted. We used to be out there playing baseball, kick, honey, dodgeball, barefooted. You know what I'm saying? The power that goes through you when you understand you and your ability and the reason why you are made to be the way that you are. You know, whoop, in regards to what somebody else says, know you, know what you're supposed to be doing, and then move accordingly to that. You know, people got you going here, there, doing this, that, and the other, and all these things that we're doing sometimes is to keep us off our game. And our game is being connected to the very thing that keeps us strong, that keeps us free, that keeps us in peace. You know, by the time they get done telling you all the things that's going wrong in the course of a day, You know, drinking from this bottle. Oh, you drink from plastic, honey. Plastic, honey. You know, plastic does this. Oh, good gracious. I can't even have water no more. You know what I mean? Then, oh, Lord. Well, I'm doing such a thing. Oh, honey, be careful because this right here is what's wrong with that. Well, be careful when you do this right here because this right here got this in it. That's got that in it. And so there's nothing that you can do that that's got you completely free to do it, except if your mind is set. It- do you do you know the power you possess when you're connected and you're grounded? You know how many people can get close to you, honey, when you're full of electricity. You know what I mean? You know that know what you can do. I tell you, the closer I get, those wind chimes, honey. Look at this right here. See this leaf? It ain't stop blowing like it's a lot of wind blowing outside. But those chimes are moving for a reason. You know what I mean? They move for a reason. They always they start to sing when they're in agreement. You know how you have the singing bowl? And I got one. I'm gonna have to do it one day. The singing bowl, that you can and make that bowl sing because it becomes, you begin to, cause it to move with your frequency, and then it feels you and it starts to be in tune with you. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of you don't. But anyway. But back, Crystal. And I keeps it close to me, honey. Keeps it close to me. Keep my world straightened out. You know, no matter what you're doing in life, never allow somebody to tell you what you cannot do. When you know the closer you are to nature, is the closer you are to your truth. That's your truth, honey. Nature, it's your truth. You know, the further you get away from it, the further you get away from you. As the wind is picked up, honey, I'm telling you, when you're connected, honey, when you're connected, you'll know. There's a story about you can command the wind, the waves. You can command it. It's because the power that it says invested in you. You got that power invested in you. You can do anything that you want to do when you're connected. Stay grounded, honey. Stay close to the ground. Find time. You know. You know. Do those things. If you don't know what it means, honey, look it up. Find it. It's awesome. I love being at peace. And I'm truly at peace right now. It's a great day, y'all. I thank you for your time. And you may not know this, honey, but this is my third time, maybe my fourth time trying to get this video done today. Every time something happens, every time I say, honey, I'm going to get this out today. Things change with it. I took some things out, but I had to do this today. Because I want you to know life is what you make it. Whatever you believe, it shall be. People are talking to you every day. They're talking to you and they're showing you and they're opening you up to who you really are. Listen. Listen, honey. It's sometimes hard to listen when the world that we are in is so dense, and Earth is a very dense planet and it's hard to hear, when everything's dense. The density is so strong. And then you got so many things in your ear, you know. Look over there. Look, weatherization. Look, global warming. Look, tariff. Look at that. This. Look at that. This. All this stuff is in your ear. You can't center yourself. That's why, honey, I get my bubble and I go with my bubble so I can have my peace. And my peace is my strength that I'm capable of doing the things I need to have done because I stayed in peace, honey. When peace is gone, honey, you can't do hardly anything, you know. You know, get grounded, honey. Stay focused. You know, really, stay focused, honey. Everything is meant to be a distraction. Don't let it. You're bigger than that. You really are. Be powerful. Let your light so shine, honey. Let it shine. You know, be the light that you want to see. Be that light. You know, the aura that people, when you walk to the room, they see your aura and they can feel it coming in before you even get there. Isn't that nice? If you can see things I'm seeing right now that's happening, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, honey. I know my eyes are dancing, right? Because I'm looking at the beauty around me, watching what just happens. You know, when when I feel it, I can push it out and it welcomes me. Yeah. It's a good day, honey. It's a good day. Be fabulous. I love you. Until we meet again. Much love to you. Light shining.